During the last several years, Wallace has hosted her own show on MSNBC as a political pundit. Previously, she was the Whitehouse communications director for George W. Bush, and later a senior advisor to John McCain in his 2008 presidential bid against Barack Obama. Famously, she didn't vote for McCain in 2008 because she agreed with Steve Schmidt, the campaign manager, that Sarah Palin on the ticket was a reach too far due to her total incompetence. The rise of Donald Trump coincided with her own rising career in television punditry. She has been fiercely opposed to his character and to his policies since the 2015 campaign, when she would appear on television, and especially and most pointedly since the inception of her show, Deadline Whitehouse, which debuted in May of 2017, just in time to cover and critique the firing of Jim Comey during that turbulent month in Trump's presidency. Come to think of it, every single month of his presidency has been turbulent, but whatever. Interesting that Trump's Jupiter conjunct Uranus not only sparks her most independent self, it has actually contributed to what might possibly be her best role in public service, her most unique place in the human wheel of fortune, and probably the most fun as well. The moon will be near this Uranus, closest if she's born in mid-afternoon, but conjunct regardless of the time, and so it will serve to emphasize the point. Jupiter in very late Sagittarius makes an exact trine to Donald's super late Leo rising, which ordinarily would be interpreted as a potential source of agreement and support. But as is always true in astrology, you got to look at the whole thing. And even before that, look in the actual world to see what's happening, and then refer back to the chart. Since it is clear she can't stand the Orange Menace, you realize what is really happening is his way of interfacing with the world, his immediate and first response to everything, the ever-important ascendant, trines her Jupiter. So this becomes a bit like saying the very sight of him stimulates her greatest gifts of insight, and he galvanizes her enthusiasm, which in this case is harnessed to oppose him with all her might. The confirmation comes with her Pisces Venus at 23 plus Pisces, in a most awkward place in Trump's chart, his 8th sign, and square his Sun, Uranus, and Moon. Interesting remembering, this is where Romney's Sun is. He's another thorn in Trump's behind, but of course his communication is just decent, and he's hampered by his political restrictions, whereas Nicole's communications is stellar, and she has nothing to hold her back from plowing into Trump every chance she gets, and believe me, she does, and about as pointedly and acerbically as anyone you'll find in the media sphere. One thing I've noted is she does stay away from expletives, which is probably a good thing. Trump is already enough of an expletive all by himself. No need to overstate the point. This Venus will mean Trump's shtick is going to irritate her value system, Venus, which we already know is tied enough to compassion for human nature that she would reject her own party before backing an incompetent loudmouth windbag like Sarah Palin. And finally, to top the cake off in a most troubling and astrologically unceremonious way, her super late Saturn in Taurus is squaring Trump's horizon line, ascendant and descendant, to really stimulate her aversion, her rebuke, and her constant focus on putting the brakes on anything he says or does. This synastry position is just about the worst you can get in a chart. Not only is the other person likely to dislike you, it isn't going to be easy for you to oppose them. The elevation of their planet in your chart is a real problem, and messing with that Saturn of hers is probably a terrible idea. She'll just retaliate by finding something else to hit you with. Well, actually she'll do it whether or not you complain, but whatever.